Hey, so today we are going to see if we can get this thing to drive. I know I've been saying that for a while, but I think we can do it today. Just need to finish up the exhaust, wire in the fan, put the seat back in. Pretty damn close, really. So let's get at it. All right, guys. Well, I went full send on the header since it was leaking there and leaking there. I pulled it apart and I loaded it up with some Ultra Copper RTV. It works really well in the LS world, and I mean it works really good. So hopefully this will seal it up. We'll see. I'm gonna let this thing dry and work on some other things. Guys, showing him doing some coolant bleeding, doing a vacuum bleed on it. If you guys don't have one of these, it's fantastic. Like, it makes your life so much easier. Like, it's absolutely necessary for European cars. I mean, obviously this is a Honda setup now, but I mean, it's just really nice to have because it's pulling the whole thing into vacuum. You can see we're down into 24 inches of vacuum. You can see the hoses are sucked shut. It pulls all of the air out of there so that when you go to fill it, it just, you have no air pockets and it just fully fills it. And you don't have to worry about having any air bubbles when you're done and overheating and weird stuff. It's really a good deal. This is just kind of a universal deal. I think I got it from ECS Tuning. I originally bought it for Porsche stuff because, I do a lot of Porsche stuff. And yeah, I got this one and I've been using it on everything and it works great. And you'll notice I'm putting Porsche coolant in it because I'm a Porsche technician by trade, so I end up with a lot of Porsche coolant. So that's what it's getting. All right, guys, I just fired it up with that with the header with the silicone all in there, sealed it up. No leaks now. Hell yeah, sounds great. So now I guess gonna move on. Gonna start working on the rest of the exhaust and that wideband, the fan situation. But I think first what I want to do is this part right here. I noticed this part is actually broken. Like, the whole lock carrier was broken, but this tab specifically on the bumper. So I've got another lock carrier. I'm gonna see if that one's okay. If it is, I'm gonna cut this section out and put it on here. That way I can actually bolt the bumper on. So here you can kind of see the difference. This one has a tab there, and this one is broke off. So that's why we're fixing it, because otherwise there's nothing to hold the bumper on. Also, this one, since it's an R53, has fog lights, and this one does not. I mean, there's a place for it, but nothing. I think I'm gonna take them out. I don't have any plans to run fog lights at the moment. I mean, I don't even have the wire. I mean, I don't have the wiring from the R53. I didn't even think about it when I parted that car out, but maybe in the future. Whew, what a pain in the ass. Did not mean for that to happen. And yeah, since the radiator has already been filled, yeah, I wasn't gonna take it off, but what are you gonna do? So I decided that for the moment I'm gonna use the yellow bumper because, well, it matches. I mean, you can see here it sticks down further than it did in the green one. It fits. It's just, hopefully I don't hit anything. But I mean, obviously the car isn't lowered, so I should be all right. Yeah. So I guess I need to cut the hood so I can get that to shut and do some other things. Okay, so I cut that section out, and it's definitely still hitting. You can feel it when you press down on the hood, so it's not fully latching. So I think I'm gonna have to try going down with this pulley, see how much slack I have, maybe switch to another belt. I don't know. Okay, so before I changed the belt out, I lowered this as far as it would go to check clearance. As far as I can tell, it's clearing, but this spot is not. And that's a tip for you guys. If you ever run into a problem where something's hitting and you can't see it, put a little bit of grease on it, because then you can see exactly where it's touching. So now I know I need to cut that section out. Okay, so I've been dicking around with it for a while. Obviously this is chopped out. So this point of the valve cover is good. It hasn't touched at all since I fixed that. I did notice that I was having a problem with the latches. They weren't latching all the way. I thought it was hitting something, but it was actually just the latches. So I raised them and moved them around until I got those things actually latched. So they're all the way up now. And I'm still hitting the pulley a little bit right there. So I'm trying to decide now if I want to, I'm thinking about grinding this out a little bit to get it to go just a tiny bit lower, and then maybe grinding these latches, or at least this side latch, to go up just a little bit to see if maybe I can get a little more clearance, because this side, not only is the frame rail pulled in a little bit because of all the hammering down there, but it has a big fucking dent in the hood, so the hood is actually tweaked a little bit. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna try and fuck with that and see if maybe I can get it to clear. If that doesn't work, I think my next scenario is, I think I'm gonna end up hammering this out a little bit. I'm gonna try to keep it as smooth as I can, but I mean, realistically, it's not that big of a deal because this hood is fucked up, and obviously I was gonna run the other one. So I guess before I get that one painted, I can just make the dent and make it all, you know, smooth it out nice enough so when it gets painted, it doesn't look like complete shit, you know? So unfortunately, my Dremel tool broke, so I'm gonna be dremeling it out with a drill. Hopefully it works. All right, guys, well, I think I'm at the point I'm gonna have to dent the hood. Because, yeah, I grinded that pulley down. It's down a decent amount more than what it was. There's not much further you can go down. I mean, I can go down a little bit, but, I mean, we're really splitting hairs here. And I tried grinding the latch to bring it up a little bit more, and I'm like, it's still just barely touching. And I keep thinking, I'm like, even though it's just barely touching, if, let's say it wasn't touching and it just had, like, the tiniest amount of space there, the problem with that is that when the engine torques, it's going to torque forward and it's going to hit the hood. It's going to come even closer. So I think we're going to have to give this hood a power bulge. So anybody that's squeamish, avert your eyes. This might be painful to watch. Yeesh. Oh, that's ugly. Some of you are probably asking yourselves, why isn't he using a hammer and dolly? Well, one, I don't have that, and two, I'm not a body guy. So, I mean, I can learn. I guess I'm gonna have to go buy some shit, because it's ugly for sure, but function over form, right? Well, good news is it clears now. There's no grease there. Bad news is I'm not a body man. But you know what? It could be worse. I mean, I think hammer and dolly, if I knew what the fuck I was doing, you could smooth that out. I mean, realistically, obviously this is a test run, because obviously I'm gonna run that other hood, so you know, I can work on those kind of skills with this, and then you know, transfer that to there. And then when I get to that point, I mean, I can always, you know, use some filler to fill in some low and high spots if I can't get them out. And you know, like I said, it's getting painted, so this will work for now. Okay, so that's gonna work. I ended up switching it out for this 653 belt instead of the 670 that I had. A little bit shorter, got me where I needed to be. and it's gonna work. And just to clarify, so you guys know, the only reason that I had this problem is because I leaned the engine forward, and that was all for header clearance. Now, if I was running a different header or like some sort of custom header, that may not have been necessary. The other thing is, because I want to run AC, I have to run this, which if I wasn't running AC, I could do an alternator relocate and just completely delete this if I wanted to. But I'm really trying to keep AC, so it's kind of what I have to do. And the other thing is, you know, like I talked about before, is that this hood's dented and it's kind of twisted a little bit. So it's possible that when I put the other hood on, I might not actually hit there. I don't know. We'll see when that day comes. Okay, so I'm in here working on installing the wideband. Haltech makes it pretty simple. I mean, it's basically you just got like, you plug in here, there's a connection here, and then you just run power and ground to the ECU, and they tell you exactly what pins to use. And then I'm just running the connector down through the floor, and it's like, I mean, honestly, the connector for this is the connector off of the O2 sensor. That's how close it is to the exhaust, so it works really well. All right, I got that all kind of back together, got it all zip tied up and away from the pedals and whatnot. I ended up trimming this piece because it was like all up in my business for the relays and stuff, but it fits pretty good. I might have to trim it a little bit more because it's still got a decent amount of pressure on there, but it is keeping these wires up. Yeah, so I still need to put in like the dead pedal and like all this stuff, but at the moment that's not super important. Man, guys, so I was working on trying to, you know, figure out what was going on with it running, because it was running with the wideband that I had put in, but it seemed like it would like kind of stumble a little bit when I give it gas, and I was like, man, what's going on? I'm looking at the Haltech, and I'm like looking at the display, and where it showed AFR, I was like, that looks about right. I was like, I don't know what's going on, and I kept going through a bunch of stuff, and then I contacted Kenny at Humble Performance, and because he's one of my friends, and I was like, hey, you know a lot about Haltech, like, you know anything what's going on? He's like, you know what? He's like, just send me your address or whatever. He's like, I'll just jump on your laptop and do it for you. You know, go through there and see what's going on. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. So he just he went through it, and we figured out that essentially the display that I was looking at target AFR and not actual AFR, because there wasn't an actual display for that. You actually have to add it in for some reason, which is really strange. But as soon as we did that, it was like, oh, it's lean. So just added some fuel, and then it just ran fine. It was like, all right, cool. So yeah, shout out to Kenny at Humble. Super awesome customer support. So hell yeah, thanks guys. All right, so I'm under here working on the exhaust again. I think this is what I'm planning. I'm gonna cut this piece of pipe down a little bit and put another angle on it, but in order to get me at least to this bent part, I think this is where we're gonna start off. Helps turn the gas on. Okay, so in order to save some money, I'm reusing some parts. So I got this muffler, which is also off of that 911 that I talked about last time that was LS swapped, and I switched the exhaust system out. So it'll work. However, there's like a bunch of shit in there, and I can't seem to get it out no matter how I turn it. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna end up cutting this out and yeah, pulling the piece out of there and then welding it back up, which is kind of stupid, but it's free, just takes some time, so fuck it, why not, right? Fuck that, going full face shield. Got it. There was like a rock in there or something. I don't know how the hell that got in there, but yeah, it's out of there. So now, got this giant hole. Just need to weld it back up. Honestly, guys, I think that's some of the best welds I've ever done. That looks fucking amazing. And I am by no means a welder, but looks pretty good. I mean, it's obviously, it's kind of it's stitch welding, but it's pretty good. All right, guys, this is what I got going on. I'm about to tack this up. Got it coming out of here. Hell yeah. Okay, guys, I just want you to see the ultimate piece to finish this thing off. I have had this exhaust tip sitting in my garage for, I bet, almost 20 years. I don't know why I kept it. Obviously, it's old school APC brand, right? Hold up, there's this thing open. There we go. It's just a regular ass fucking stainless tip. Check this shit out. How fucking stock is that gonna look? Fuck yeah. Ultimate sleeper. Hell yeah. Look how stock that bitch looks. All welded up now. Looks pretty good. Really happy about that. The only thing that's a little bit different than factory is this is pointed a little bit to the right. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's pointed a little bit to the right. Other than that, I mean, this thing looks stock. So it seems to drive pretty good, but the problems that I'm having so far are that second gear and reverse don't seem to work very well. I can't seem to get it into either one of those gears. So I think my guess is there's something going on with the cables. We'll see. But I mean, hey, it freaking drives. Everything seems to be working. Coolant staying exactly where it needs to be. And honestly, I think this gauge might actually be working. I didn't think it worked before, but it was below there before, so I'm pretty sure it's working. It must just be on a different scale or something. Like maybe the mini ran hotter, I don't know, but it seems like it's, I mean, it seems like it's working. I guess we'll see. Want to give you guys a quick look at how super sleeper this thing is right now. There is no things that are letting on that there is a K-series in this from the outside, other than, I mean, I guess if you look at the window you can see the shifter, but like this thing is super sleeper. Hell yeah, I love it. All right, guys, well, I drove it. Runs really good. Seems, you know, I'm happy with it. It's doing pretty good. Pulls pretty good. I mean, obviously the tune isn't perfect, but it's pretty close. So the transmission is definitely having problems. I don't know what's going on. Second and reverse weren't working when I was driving it. I pulled it back in the garage. I was able to manually get it into reverse. Reverse works. So that's clearly something to do with the shift cables. Second gear, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem like it wants to work. So I don't know if somehow the shift fork isn't quite getting there, or there's something going on with the shift selector. I'm not entirely sure. It feels like it's like, you can feel like when it goes in a second, it kind of makes like a grinding noise, like it's like almost there, but not quite. So I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm really hoping I don't have to pull the transmission back out, but it is definitely a possibility, unfortunately. And I honestly, it might not be the worst thing in the world, because the clutch that is in this thing that I put in here was like an eBay, like stage 3 kind of deal. This has got to be the stiffest clutch I've ever felt in my life. It is so bad. This is not a car you're gonna want to drive in like stop and go traffic for sure. So if the transmission comes out, I'm putting a different clutch in it, because holy crap, that's bad. But yeah, I think I ran out of time today, so hopefully next weekend I can dig deeper into this transmission scenario and see what's going on, and hopefully I don't gotta pull it back out. But if I gotta pull it back out, that's what I gotta do. So until next time, subscribe, like, do the thing, and yeah, peace out.